Okay. Those wa online, habari zenu?
Nzuri.
Kwa hiyo sasa tunapatikana sasa. Lakini biashara hii zinakuwa maybe that's good. Jude, see that Corin. Good. So just speak up from where we talked yesterday. Okay. Yesterday we were dealing with the case of known shortage costs. So today, let's now deal with unknown shortage costs. Known shortage costs. Sorry, just a minute. So just a minute, there's someone that I want to bring in. I sent them the wrong link. Okay, Jane, welcome. Sorry, I had forwarded to you the wrong link. Now I can see you are in. Good. So let's write this. Where shortage cost is unknown. Where shortage cost is unknown or difficult to estimate or difficult to estimate, the concept of service level is used. The concept of service level is used. The concept of service level is used. First of all, service level is the proportion of time. Service level is the proportion of time. Is the proportion of time that a company is able. To satisfy demands from customers without any delay. Demands from customers without any delay. The proportion of time that delays can be experienced, is called risk level. It then follows that semicolon, and you write this as a formula. Service level plus risk level is equal to 1. Then follows that colon service level plus risk level is equal to 1. There are two methods used. We will mention as we discuss. The first one is called linear interpolation method. Linear interpolation method. Linear interpolation methods. Right, that this is based on similarities and congruency. Similarities and congruency of figures. Similarities and congruency of figures. According to this concept, if two figures are similar, the known values can be used to determine the unknown. Values. The known values can be used to determine the unknown values. Okay, let's go to the next one. Normal probability. Normal probability distribution method. Normal probability distribution method. Normal probability distribution methods. And write that this relies on characters of normal probability distribution. Characters of normal probability distribution as shown below. shown below. So this one is called risk level. Here we have standard deviation. This one is safety stock. This one is service level. This is X bar, and X bar is the current reorder point. Then we have X1, which is new reorder point. Then we should remember very well that X bar is Xi multiplied by probability of Xi. Standard deviation is the sum of Xi minus X bar. You square this, you multiply by probability of Xi. Let us come to a square root. Then there is another one called Z, which you know so well. Is Xi minus X bar. You divide by standard deviation. And then this Xi is what we called VDLT yesterday. VDLT. So we are saying there are instances when it will be very difficult to estimate the shortage cost or completely impossible. Take a case of a building going up in flames simply because there was no fire extinguisher. So the cost of that building is the shortage cost of that fire extinguisher. So what is the cost of that building? If you have to imagine a building like this one, maybe bringing up the building again, you can be able to get the wood. But there is much more than the physical structure. There are many businesses in this building, and many people are benefiting from that. Not only within this building, but even in the neighborhood. So how do you quantify all that? It becomes very difficult. Another case is, take a case that you are the stockist in a pharmacy, in a hospital. And as a result of a drug being out of stock, someone loses their life. So the cost of that life is the shortage cost of that drug that was out of stock. So how do you quantify life? That's completely impossible. So when you find yourself in such scenarios, companies, they design what they call the service level. Service level is the proportion of time that you endeavor to satisfy your customers without any delay. If it's a class like this one, I endeavor to always start my lesson without any delay. Like today, I have experienced a risk level. I've not been able to start my lesson exactly at 8:30. Risk level is the proportion of time that you can delay. So the few minutes that I delayed, they represent my risk level. Now, this service level is what in most companies you find being called a service charter. Have you ever seen one? Or even where you work? Service charter. There are documents that are well displayed in most of the organizations. I think even here, I'll tell the principal, we need to put one. Where the company says, we endeavor to serve you, like sasa kama hapa tunaweza sema, we endeavor to always begin our lessons on time. We endeavor to always complete syllabus on time. So you give those promises. It shows your commitments, what we call the service level. So we have these two methods, and I think what we have said is enough. Let's go to the questions. Get the handouts. Those who are online, you can forward to those who have just joined. Those who are physical have just joined. I don't know what they do now. Let me see it's with question. Someone to forward to the group, the handout. I see there are some persons who have joined right now. Yeah, I want us to handle question number 12. Question 12. We are using linear interpolation method. Linear interpolation methods. So in the linear interpolation, you prepare analysis table, and this analysis table, we have PDLT, then we have what we call specific probability, then we have what we call less than cumulative probability, less than cumulative probability, Is it the one that has 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30? Yeah. Probabilities of 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.3, and 0.1. Now, the less than cumulative probabilities are well known that you start here, you add this one, you add 3 so that you get 6, you add to get 9, and you add to get okay. Now the surface level is 84%. So 84 is between 60 and 90. It's between 60 and 90. So what you do, you just draw a mshale like this, and you show that 84 is somewhere there in between. 84 is somewhere there in between. So draw like a small graph like this. Draw like a small graph. 2 axes. This one you call it x-axis. And this one you call it y-axis. So design something like that. The other small one. There's a small one. So the next thing, somewhere here close to the end, mark and you call it 20. 20. And somewhere here close to the end, you mark and you call it 25. Call it 25. Then somewhere here on this side, close to the start, you mark and you call it 0.6. And then on this side, close to the end, you call it 0.9. Call it 0.9. Then establish the point where 0.6 means 20. This point here, and where 25 meets 90. Those points, connect them with a very straight line. The very straight line that someone calls a hypotenuse in Pythagoras theorem. So you draw that line that way and you label those points A, B. Then draw another line, namna hii, And another one here. At this point, you call it C. That point, you call it C. So we now have a figure. What is the name of that figure? The name of that figure. See, naitwa triangle. Naitwa right angle triangle. You want to take it a notch higher. It's a triangle. It's a figure. Then we know that we are looking for 84. And 84 could be somewhere here. So just come and mark. Just estimate 84. Somewhere there. If you are to put your ruler here, to come and touch this line, you can show by dots like this. Come and touch that point, and you call it point D. Come and touch that point, which you will call D. You use an incomplete line. Then, this line iteremke hivi ikiwa complete up to this point, lakini hapa ikuwe dot. So this point here, you call it E, and this one you call it X. So how many triangles can you now see? Hey. Hii ni mambo ya kidagate. I normally see my kids wakifanya assignment. How many diagrams can you see? There are two. Yeah. There are two diagrams. Are they similar? Yes. Good. So then we come here and say down there, triangle ABC. When you use this casebo, it is interpreted as triangle. So triangle ABC is similar to triangle ABE. ABE. So according to this method, we say it assumes that if two figures are similar and some values are known, then you can be able to know the other values. So you will say BC, when divided by BE, it should be equal to AC. You divide by AE. In my example, we'll find out from one when it's translation factors. So if you are looking for BC, BC is 0.9 minus 0.6. And DE will be 0.84 minus 0.6. AC is 25 minus 20. You divide by X minus 20. So from there, solve and give me the figure for X. Solve and give me the answer for X. What did you get as X? 24. Now this one is the new Yoda point. This method does not help us to get the safety stock. It only shows you the new Yoda point. The new Yoda point. So let's now handle the same using normal probability distribution. So we are now using normal probability distribution method. So this one will require you have probability. Now this DTLT is our XI. Now this will be the probability of XI. Probability of XI. We will require XI multiplied by probability of XI. We will require XI minus X bar. You square this, you multiply by probability of XI. You multiply by the probability of XI. Those are the columns that we will require when we are dealing with the normal. So multiply and give me this total. Yeah. Total. Yeah. 10 times 0.1 is what? 1. We begin 3, then 6, then 3. Total. Good. After that, it will be happen. This one, you take this one, 10 minus 20.5. You square, then multiply by the probability. 15 minus 20.5. You square, multiplied by 0.2. 20 minus 20.5. You square, multiplied by 0.3. 25 minus 20.5. You square, multiplied by 0.3. 30 minus 20.5. You square, multiplied by 0.1. Then you will send me the total. That's 2.25. Someone else to confirm? Okay. So X bar, we know it is 20.5. 20.5. Standard deviation will be the square root of that 2.25. Standard deviation would be the square root of that. Hmm? 0.68. Okay, now with that, we draw our curve. And the curve looks like this, whereby on this side we have X bar, which we are saying is 20.5. We are looking for X1, which is unknown, This space here, as we said, it will represent safety stock. And then the whole of this at this point is our service level. And this service level, we know it is 0.84. And this 0.84 can be broken into two. It is 0.5 plus 0.34. I hope you have not forgotten normal probability distribution. Remember, mshakuwa declared watu wamepita QA. So now you must demonstrate that for sure you will your karatasi. So sasa huyu naye anaitwa risk level. This is risk level, which is 0.16. So what we are looking for is X1. But we are aware there is a formula that looks like this. That Z1 is X1 minus X bar. You divide by what? Standard deviation. We are aware of that. So from that, how do you get x1? If you want to be left with x1, you na multiply hii hapa. Alafu sasa hii inakuja huku na hawa wanarudi hivi. So that we are left with x bar plus z standard deviation. Z standard deviation. So we already know x bar, we also know standard deviation. The one we do not know is z. But we know that from the tables, it should be Z1. From the tables, Z1 should be equal to. So get your tables. Get your tables. And again, those who are online, you can re-forward the past papers. You can re-forward the past papers to the group so that those who have just joined can be able to access them. When you go to the past papers, there are two tables for the normal distribution. There is the one that is titled normal curve, and another one that is titled standard normal curve. I want to focus on the normal. Normal is the specific. You're generally cumulative. I want to focus on. So if you are there, you get inside the tables, Kodani, where they would have 0.34. 0.34. Then you read the value in the row and the value in the column. 0.34. Have you seen it? Yes. The value of Z in the row, it is what? 0.99. Eh? Okay, 0.99. 0.99. I hope everyone is able to see that. For those who are online, if you are struggling, this is what we are saying. Table inakaa namna hii. Hii ndio table. Hii. So uingie huku ndani huku. Utafute 0.34. So mahali utaiona usome this value. Usome the value here in the row and the value here in the column. So the one that I'm finding, you can either take one here 0.3413, or you take the one that have already been given, or 0.3389. So I hope everyone now is comfortable. Okay, so if you are comfortable, this is now going to, we say then x1 is equals to x bar 20.5 plus 0.99 times 5.68. So this is 20.5 plus 400, this one. $5.623. So this one you could round them up to 21, and this one you round it to 6, so that you now talk of what? 27. So this 27 will be your new reorder point. New reorder point, and this 6 is the safety stock. This 6 is the safety stock. Yesterday we were dealing with the formula of the new reorder point, where we were saying that it is the current reorder point plus the safety. So this then must be safety. 21 is our current, and 27 is the new. Okay. So on your own now, you shall handle. Is there another question there? Let me see the handout. The one that has questions. So on your own, I propose you handle. Oh, hakuna ingine. In the past papers, there should be one question. In your past papers, you shall handle. Question. Are you wishing that I don't find it? The question, I know it is here. It looks like I am not quickly. And I know it's a question 1. Is it A or B? Yes. November 2016, question 2A. Check whether your papers are November 2016. November 2016. It is there. Question 2A. Eh? Yeah, so that is the one that I wanted to get. That's the one that I wanted to get. Or to show. Collins, you are saying bado hujaelewa where we got you got it, and I can see Anne is trying to assist you. I had said if your table looks like this one, if you are holding your table like this, who could done easy values that are to 4 decimals, you look for 0.34. You may not find it exactly, but you pick the approximate. So those who gave me 99, they picked this one, that is 0.3389. Then ukishaipata hapa, unakibia hapa in the row. The row is 0.9 and the column is 9. So that is how we got 0.99. Is that okay, Collins? As Collins responds, Helen, you're asking where we got 21 and 6. They are rounded figures. I've been saying when you're dealing with units, you round them up. So here you round inakuja 21, here you round inakuwa 6. Is that okay, Helen? And Collins. Okay. That's good if you have gotten that. So that question, okay, Collins, ensure you have the right table, then you'll be able to see that. That's good. Aya. Sasa hiyo tumemaliza, tusoge to something else called marginal analysis. Marginal analysis. Marginal analysis. Marginal analysis, and we write that this is a technique. This is a technique used to handle inventory controls for items which perish in terms of substance, for items which perish in terms of substance as a result of time passage. As a result of time passage. Such items include Give me some examples of items that perish in terms of substance as a result of time passage. Hey. Huh? Vegetables, vegetables and fruits and so on, all of those are collectively known as They are collectively known as food. They are collectively known as groceries. Groceries. I think of groceries. Groceries captures all those fruits, vegetables, tomatoes, and so on. Something else is milk. You can also talk of meat. You can also talk of flowers, etc. Another student told me human beings, but human beings are not invented. So you not put that. Even technology perishes with time, but we will not put it because it's not an inventor. You cannot stop in technology. Then down there we write that according to this technique, an extra unit should only be ordered for. An extra unit should only be ordered for. Only be ordered for as long as P is greater than or equal to ML, which is divided by ML plus MP. As long as P is greater than or equal to. Where P equals probability that demand is higher than supply. Probability that demand is higher than supply. ML marginal loss. MP marginal profit. Okay, so that is the technique that we use when we are dealing with items that perish. So get to your handout and we'll go to question number next, which is question inasoma question 17, eh? Okay. I forgot to adjust the numbering. We just call it 17. Just call it 17. Najma, some. Good, thank you. So the first thing is to compute the marginal profit. That packet is sold for how much? 55. And it is purchased at how much? 53. so that they make a profit of. Is that true in real life? Anyone who has some experience in retail? How much does a retailer make when they sell one packet of milk? Huh? 5 shillings. You don't have the experience in retail. It is 2 shillings. 2 or 3. Not even 3. It is 2. The cartels in the milk industry have made it so strong that the retailer only makes a profit of 2 bob, irrespective of the price. Irrespective of the price. Yes, Alice, I can see. Just 2. Just 2 shillings. So you can see, currently a packet of milk is going for how much? 55. Oh, so it's just like this one, eh? Okay. So if it is 55, this guy then has acquired it at 53. If one packet remains unsold, the guy loses what? 53. So for him to recover that, he must sell how many more packets? 53 divided by 2 is, this is around 27 packets. So for one packet remaining unsold in the evening, and it gets spoiled, the shopkeeper must sell 27 more packets to recover that. So you can imagine the day 5 packets remain unsold. Yeah. So you can see the harm you do to your retailer. Wakati unanunua maziwa inaharibika, unabeba sufuria ukimpelekea as evidence that hiyo maziwa imeharibika. Yeah. So such goods, you need to be very careful. They can mess you. You can work now. If 5 packets remain unsold, you see you are talking of 105 packets. You can work for more than a whole week. Just recovery. Just recovery. Okay, marginal loss. Now that it is going to be given for free, it means he's selling for how much? 0. So that his loss is minus 53. So now give me P as 53. You divide by 53 plus 2. Should be greater than or equal to what? Hmm? 0.96. Aha. So now here we have demand. Then we have specific probability. Then we have something called more than. Cumulative probability. More than cumulative probability. Some of those units in ngapi?
14, 18, 20.
25 that. And the probabilities are points?
0.01,
0.01, 0.03, 0.03, 0.62, and 0.031.
No, 3.1.
0.31. Now look here, because most likely my guess is true. You don't know how to do this one. Or you know how to do the more than?
No.
Let's try it. Now, the one we did earlier in the other question was less than. Now, less than unaanzanga huku juu ukiteremka. But more than you do the reverse. So unaanza hapa chini ukipanda. So it is 0.31. You add this one. So that you get 0.93. You add this 0.96. You add this 0.99. And then you add this, you get 1. So that is the difference between more than and less than. The difference between so we are through, eh? We are through. This is how you argue. This is how you argue. We are told we only order if probability is greater than this or equal. So I'll be asking the question which you shall respond by just saying yes or no. So starting from here, is this probability greater than or equal to this one? You have not followed my instructions. You have not answered wrongly, but you have not followed the instructions. The instructions were you either say yes or no. Yeah. So the answers would have been yes there. So if it is yes, that means we can order 14. Let's come to this one. Is this one greater than or equal?
Yes.
Yes. So if yes, that means we can order 18. This one, is it greater than or equal to?
Yes.
So if yes, it means we can order 20. This one, is it greater than or equal to?
No.
No. So if no, you cannot now order from here. So the maximum order size is, so down there make the comment that the optimal order size is 20 units. Optimal order size is 20 units. So this is a case of, it can also be said to be a case of what yesterday we were calling permitted shortages, whereby as the owner of the shop or the one in charge of inventory, you are well aware that demand can turn to be 25 or can turn to be what? 30, but you only seek to stock 20. So if it's something like milk, you are well aware there are your customers who will come at 6 or even 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. But you order milk in a way that it will be over by around 2, 3 p.m. So that in the event that it is not over, it will just be a few packets remaining, which you finally manage to sell by 7 p.m. But if you seek to satisfy, even the customers who come at 10 p.m., you'll be in for a big shop. In for big shop. And that's the reason why you see shopkeepers, they have to open very early and close very late, trying to manage these things. So you're aware of that. Yeah. Me, I have a lot of experience in the Juakari. I've operated a shop for more than 6 years. So I know what I'm saying. Eh? Yeah, as you go by and by, you'll be realizing I'm more of Juakari than the white collar. So that one is well understood and well answered. Now, on your own, there is a question here that I would like you to this question of May 2015, it could be a May 2015, question 1B. May 2015, question 1B. May 2015, question 1B. Does that question look familiar? Yeah. There are some people who have been with here for a while. Does that question look familiar? Yes, that question we already have solved it when we were in decision making, and we solved it fully. But what I wanted to point out, requirement number 1 would also be solved by using the marginal analysis. So I would like you to solve it using marginal analysis, but you can only be able to solve Roman 1. For Roman 2, you will have to go the other way that we went. Then, ukimaliza hiyo, you also attempt another one here of May 2016. May 2016, question 3B. May 2016, question 3B. May 2016, question 3B. The next agenda inaitwa newsboy problem. Newsboy problem, and if your gender sensitive, you can also call it news girl. No harm. Alternatively, you can also call it incremental analysis. Right, that this is used where items perish as a result of time passage. Items perish as a result of time passage, but the physical matter remains intact. But the physical matter remains intact. It is also applied where restocking may be difficult. Restocking may be difficult within the relevant period. Within the relevant period. Examples. Give me examples of items that perish only because of time passage, but the physical substance is intact. Not all. Like the syllabus. I'm being told about drugs, medicine. Once the expiry date is over, but there are some that by the time expiry inafika unapata ishaharibika. But otherwise maybe you are talking of the tablets, kama kina Panadol, yeah. But that one now, those ones may be excluded from the analysis because they have a long shelf life. You find a tablet may have a useful life of more than 2-3 years. Yeah. Remember, our analysis is pegged on 1 year period. Eh? We're going to say annual. Yeah. So what else? Yes, Helen, I can see you are saying newspapers. Good. Adika hiyo, magazeti, newspapers. Cards. Like the Valentine cards. Kama saa hii ukienda posta upate kuna mtu alikutumia kadi ya Valentine. Will you be as excited? But the card is brand new, but now ishapita the useful period. Diaries, yeah, good. Miri, I can see diaries, good. Diaries. Magazines, there's some magazines. Magazines, like when you go to the salon or kinyozi or some waiting base, unapata hizo magazines. You may want to read, but you may not be willing to pay for it. If you did not read the January series, and you have come across it, you may want to read, but if you are told you pay for it, you may not be willing to pay. Yeah. ETC. Then down there we write that according to this method, an extra unit should only be ordered for. An extra unit should only be ordered for as long as P is greater than or equal to C1 out of C1 plus C2 C1 is equals to C plus CH minus V. C2 is equals to S minus C minus CH out of 2 plus CP. And this is when the order is impossible. The order is impossible, or C2 is equals to F times CR plus 1 minus F multiplied by S minus C plus CP minus CH out of 2. And this one is the order impossible. Hii inatumika when the order is impossible. P equals probability that demand is greater than supply. Probability that demand is greater than supply. C1, cost of overstocking 1 unit. Cost of overstocking 1 unit. C2, cost of understocking. Cost of understocking 1 unit. C, purchase cost per unit. Purchase cost per unit. CH, holding cost per unit. Holding cost per unit. V, salvage value per unit. Salvage value per unit. S, selling price per unit. Selling price per unit. CP, shortage cost relating to other items. Shortage cost relating to other items. F, fraction of customers willing to wait. Fraction of customers willing to wait. And CR is cost of reordering an extra unit. Cost of reordering an extra unit. Yeah, this technique is called the newsboy problem because it was developed to help the newsboy or the boy who was selling newspapers to know how many copies he will be ordering for every morning. Those days, newspapers used to be sold by voice. I don't know whether is it still the case? We still have some people who sell the hard copies. Nowadays, it is men and even ladies. And do you think it's a good business? A paper goes for how much? 60. How much do you think is the profit these guys make when they sell 1 copy? Anyone with an idea? Have you ever sold? Nyinyi watu kweli, nyinyi ni watu wa ofisi. Hamna mambo ya jua kali. Sasa ndio tuko kwa jua kali. When I used to sell, we used to get it at 52. I don't know whether things have changed. It's like 2 or 3 years since. But would get it at 52. So per copy you make 8 shillings. So if you sold 10 copies, you have how much? 8. And if you work very hard to sell 100 copies, you go home with what? What do you think? Is 800 good money? Yeah. Seriously, good money. Because if you're getting this, even just give it an average of 5 days. Forget about the other 2 days because of the fluctuations. So that is 4,000 per week. Still. And in a month, that gives you what? 16,000. Is it good money? This guy making 16,000 is better off than most of us getting 30,000 and 40. Because this guy does not pay tax. Still. Hiyo maneno ya statutory deductions na nini hakuna. So yako ikianza kuokwa hizo vitu, the net that comes. And then for an office person, the cost of getting your mshahara ya 40,000 is also a bit high. As in, you have to move from your house to the office, you require fare. Most likely huyu jamaa wa magazeti kutembea. Anauza hapo jazi the neighborhood. So mambo na fare is not there. Lakini yako iko, so from the 40 or 50,000 you factor fare. Number 2, you have to factor the ranch cost. Where most of us we work, ranch is not readily available or is not available at a cheaper price. But this guy is where they sell this magazeti, he can easily get ranch at 50 bob. Lakini wewe mahali yuko, ranch moderate is around how much? 200 moderate. So when you start factoring those things, you realize that these guys would be better. And I don't know whether you have ever sat down and wondered why some guys who, according to you, they don't have a lot of money, but when you look at what they have been able to do, they are either ahead of you or they are doing well. They are not ahead of you, they are doing well. That guy has managed to buy a plot somewhere. Maybe he's living in his house now. He has an old car or a small car, a Pro Box, a small car. Have you ever come across such guys? Me, myself. And it's the high time you also start thinking that way. Unfortunately, our education system streamlines us only to go to the office to be employed. But it's the high time we start changing the paradigm. So that if this guy who is not even educated like you and me can prosper that way, what about you and me? We could divert our attention there. See, magazine, we can sell it in a better way. Yes. Umefanya entrepreneurship, you can go and use that knowledge to a point whereby you can even get some other guys now who are working for some very busy gates za coats. Naona hizi coats kwenye tunakaanga. Au majamaa wakichomoka na magari zao. You position someone there, anauza magazeti. Yeah, you get like 3, 4, 5 guys. So if each of these guys gives you, rather sells 100, instead of getting everything from him, you pay him, you can even pay him 500. Uachiwe what? 300. Ukiachiwa 300 and there are 5 guys, that is 1,500 in a day. Sasa anza hiyo mahesabu. That's how people make money. Lakini wewe unashinda kusema magazeti tu. The other time I was doing an analysis of the mikokoteni. If you walk around in the city, there's one guy I normally see mikokoteni imeandikwa Kuria. Yes. That guy has so many mikokotenis. So I got interested. And I'm told the guy hires hizo mikokoteni to these vijana wenye wanabeba. Not the mikokoteni, the trolley. Yes. He hires them. So even if this guy will bring back 100 shillings, now huyo jamaa kuna mikokoteni 100. That's 10,000. How many of us are making 10,000? Na hii ni pesa yenye halipi tax. That's how you should start to reason out. But before then, wacha tuendelee na EMA. Okay, now, when do we start? Let me explain these formulas. We have said it is used where the goods perish because of time, but substance remains okay. And where it is not possible to make a reorder. A good example where you cannot make a reorder is hata kwa hiyo magazeti. Ukishachukua your supply from Nation Media and you are there hapa nje unauza, ifike saa 6 ziishe. You cannot tell a customer ngoja hapa nikipie pale Nation nilete ingine. That cannot happen. Or maybe you are selling some things like in a graduation ceremony. I'm sure you have attended one. Kuna watu wanautuzia hizo maua na nini. Zako zikiisha, can you tell the graduates and their guests that ngojeni hapo nikipie pale kwa store nilete? No. So those are examples of such items. The next thing that I need to mention is this one, the cost of overstocking. If you overstock one unit, like what you are saying, maziwa ibaki. Number one, you lose the cost that you had paid. Number two, hii maziwa, you lose the holding cost. Umekaa kwa fridge yako the whole day. Umekuwa ikitumia stima. Maybe you even have some workers when you wanashinda hapo wakipanguza. So the holding cost is included there. But in case tomorrow morning, mtu anaweza nunua hiyo packet for 5 bob or 10 bob, ikiwa imeharibika, that now comes in to reduce your cost. It's called salvage. Then, when you understock, you lose the profit. And profit, we know so well, is selling price minus the variable cost. So these are the variable costs. Selling price, you minus the cost of buying, you minus the holding cost. And this holding cost is divided by 2, while here is not divided by 2, because hii yenye imebaki imekuwa kwa duka tangu asubuhi mpaka jioni. Ulipofungua mpaka ukafunga. Lakini hii ya kuisha the stock out haijakuwa kwa duka throughout. It was in the shop maybe asubuhi ukifungua 6 ikaisha maybe saa 7. So you don't charge the whole day holding cost. So we get the argument. Then DCP, it is the cost you lose when this customer, it's just like what I was telling you the other day, that the customer comes to your shop and anakuuliza, do you have milk? Unasema no. Anaenda kwa hiyo duka ingine, unamuona akirudi na bag imejaa, iko na maziwa, iko na mkate, iko na sukari, iko na so many other things. And all these other things are in your shop. It is only maziwa haikuwa. So even those ones, si mtu anasikianga uchungu. Maybe you have not been there. I thought you have been an operator for a long time. I know. Sasa ukiona customer anapita hapo na hiyo kibanda na hakununua kwako. As a human being unasikia kitu. Sasa hiyo kitu ndio hii CP. Yeah. The other thing is now this one is used to where reorder is impossible. But if customer can wait, if the customers can wait, we revise the formula. So we have those who are waiting times the cost of reordering. Now this one is slightly different from the others because you have to do it in a hurried way. Like maybe umepigia mwenzako mwenye ako kwa hiyo duka ingine ukamwambia akuletee. And some of them watakwambia mimi nakuletea at the normal price ya customer. So it is even prudent to do it that way so that you do not lose this customer. And I don't know whether I told you, as a business person, you must put a lot of effort to ensure none of your customer gets to have an experience with your competitor. Because when they get an experience with your competitor, they may never come back. You know, we all suffer from what we call the best syndrome. Best syndrome is the feeling that makes you think you are the best. So if you're a teacher like me, you think you are the best AMA teacher. Any other is a quack. If you are a man like me, you think you are the most handsome, you are the strongest in this room. If you are ready, you think you are the most beautiful. And it's not bad to have that. However, it is not always true. You can release your customer to someone else, and then you lose them out. For example, it is possible one of these fine days when I'm not able to attend the lesson, nitume mtu mwingine anisimamie. Akikuja hapo mseme, hey, this is the guy. This is the mwambie sasa hata kesho urudi wewe enda mwambie Kimani sasa akae huko nje. Now that is only happening because I let him come. But kama singemleta mngekuwa tu mnafikiria I'm the best. And that is what you should do as a business person. As much as possible, never allow your customers to go. A good case in point. Some of you came here to Destiny first time last semester. You came from somewhere. Why have you come back now? That's what I'm saying. The guy who released you from elsewhere, akakufanyia mambo, ikafanya ukuje hapa, did a big mistake to himself. Because when you came here, you realize things are different. And you never go back. Yeah. So the other thing that I need to mention is this one here. You can see this formula has been revised. This one, DOE2, but we have separated. Why we have separated, this is the fraction of those who not be willing to eat. It does not affect the holding cost. Why it does not affect the holding cost is that customers do not care where you keep your stock. I think I discussed this the other day when I was telling you, you don't care where I come from. Ndio. Hata saa hii nikimaliza hii class, it's none of your business where I'm going to. Bora wewe next time nitakuwa hapa on time, na time ya kutoka ikifika nito. So that one does not affect the customer. Then this other one here, obviously this cost, the customer does not get concerned. Like now, have you ever seriously thought how much I'm paying to teach? It has never clicked your mind, because as a customer, it is none of your business the cost at which they buy the items. But for this one is customer dependent. Kuna customer atakuja kwa duka yako anunue only one packet of milk. Kuna mwingine atakuja kwa duka anunue 2 packets of milk, mikate tatu, 3 kilos of sugar, and so on. Similarly, kuna customer atakuja kwa duka yako, even they tell you to keep change. Sindio? Na kuna mwingine anahakikisha amehesabu kabisa hiyo change. So huwezi muibia hata 1 shilling. So it's customer dependent. But for this, and this one also is also customer dependent. The selling price. If you normally sell, look at it this way. If you have a product you sell for 100 shillings, and this product you normally buy it at 70, you make a profit of what? 30. This is the normal price. Now there are 2 types or 3 types of customers. The first type you want to do a 2 bila maneno mingi na wanae. There is category number 2 that wants to bargain kabisa. Akikuja kwa duka yako lazima bargain. Sasa badala ya kushinda ukibagain sana, huyu unamuuzia at 80, ndio sasa anafurahi anaenda. So ukimuuzia 80, you make a profit of what? 10. Na kuna wengine wakikuja from the root of things, ukiangalia mtu hivyo akiingia kwa duka yako, unaona anakaa pesa. Unajua kuna watu wanakaa pesa. Unaona tu hivyo unaona hii ni pesa. Ukiona ni pesa na ulifungua duka ya utengeneze pesa, si ndio? Ulifungua milango asubuhi so that you make money. Remember the objective of our business is to maximize profits. So you look at this guy and you tell him, karibu sana, hii product huwa tunauza 1,200. And true to your guess, the guy goes to the pocket and gives you 1,200. You make a profit of 1,100. Is it 130? Unamwambia kwa heri ya karibu. Is it okay? Yes. Those who are saying it is not okay, you should be advised what he's saying. It is business, nothing personal. It is business, nothing personal. Kama anaweza kulipa, take a very practical case. We know of the education sector. Kuna watu wanafunzia watoto like Brookside, hizi mashule zingine, where school fees I'm told is even $1 million. St. Andrews, Turin, the school fees is $1 million per term. Per term, 1.2. Na kuna ya serikali bure. Let's be very practical. St. Andrews, yes. 1.2. These are schools where before your kid is admitted, you give 3-year bank statement. Yes. Before mtoto wako achukuliwe, unapeana bank statement. Ndio tusichukue mtoto wako alafu aanze kusukua na mambo ya school. We want to ensure that you are stable. Kulipa ni sawa, lakini unajua ya kwanza maybe ni kitu umeuza. Yes. Umepata hiyo pesa. I want to see that this money flows consistently. Then, like now, where am I in school? I think the average is around 30,000. Kuna zingine za bure where you can pay even actually zero. Do you want to tell me how watu wanafunzi wa different alphabets? See the same alphabets?
Yes.
Yes. But this customer is willing and able to pay. Later on in the next topic, we'll be talking about pricing. There is the willingness and the ability to pay. Kuna watu wanaamini for something to be quality, they must pay a lot of money. Anything cheap is poor quality. So kama ni mtu kama huyo mkuja kwa duka yako, why not do that? So it is business, nothing personal. Now usimhurumie, later on I'll be telling you, if you are a business person, you must never entertain emotions. If you bring emotions in business, you cannot succeed. Emotions unaacha nje, ukifungua duka, you do business. Later on we'll be discussing even emotions of love and hate. It should not be entertained in business. You will fail. Anyway, time is over. We will pick up from there in the next lesson.